Hi there, welcome to Dave's Desk for another episode looking at building blocks of faith. And today we're going to look at, I guess, maybe an unspoken truth or a secret that only people in the church realise, but say it quietly. There are always Christians that you don't get on with, and I don't get on with. There are people in the church with whom we disagree. There are people in the church who we struggle to spend time with and still be having fun at the end of it. I said it. I hope you won't be offended if that's a truth you'd never encountered before. But I don't think I've ever met a Christian who didn't have another Christian that they had some kind of struggle with in terms of spending time with them. And I think it's worth just spending a little bit of time thinking about what it means to be a church where there is friction. And sometimes that friction is really helpful. That image from the Bible of iron sharpening iron. Sometimes other people who we struggle to spend time with really help us to be sharper in our understanding of ourselves and our understanding of our own weaknesses and what the Bible says. And sometimes it becomes more of a blunting effect, and it disheartens us. And I felt like doing this because I was watching something my kids were watching on telly. They were watching VeggieTales, which is sort of Christian stories told by vegetables. If you've never seen it, you're missing out. And they were watching, because I think they've watched all of VeggieTales now, the episode of Scrooge VeggieTales. You know, every series has to have a Scrooge episode. This was VeggieTales do Scrooge. And at one point, the tomato turns to the cucumber and says, "No, I have to give him the present because I love him because Christ loves him." And that image of, I have to love this person because Christ loves them, is, I think, the core of our understanding of what it means to deal well with disagreement within the church. At the moment, it seems like there are loads of reasons why we might have serious disagreements with people. You know, there's lots of stuff going on politically that we might struggle with. Things seem to be quite tense and divided in politics at the moment. Sentence I never expected to say, our views on epidemiology might be quite different. We might have really different views on what's going on at the moment and how that should be. And it might be just the old favourites of how we like to worship God might be quite different. But whether or not we're separated by politics and virus awareness and style of worship, we must understand that even people who are diametrically opposed to us are still equally loved by God as we are. That what separates us, although seemingly important, is much less significant than the fact that we're all loved by Christ, and Christ wants the best for all of us. And so we have to try and find ways of seeing in others what Christ sees in them. And that's not always easy. I've made a commitment to myself to try and instigate something I slightly adapted from teaching, which is the idea of unconditional positive regard. That everything I read now, I will try and read assuming the best possible motives, or try and hear assuming the best possible motives of the person who's saying it or writing it. And this has come about also because of something that C.S. Lewis writes, which I paraphrase, which is that the enemy would always want us to be reading or listening to someone else's words and reading in all of the meaning that we assume is behind it, and reading in meanings that they may not intend, and then taking offence at what we believe that they mean by what they say or write. But also at the same time to be offended ourselves when what we say or write isn't taken as face value for just the words we've written. It enables us always to have the moral high ground in any argument because, well, they're taking my words out of context and that's clearly what they mean. And so my commitment at the moment is to try and avoid that trap and try always to avoid being perhaps naive, but out of a firm belief that the Bible teaches this strange ethic for our times, that it's better to suffer for kindness than to gain glory by causing someone else harm or someone else to suffer. So better to suffer myself out of kindness than to cause suffering in others. We had a Sunday talk the other day around winning the person even if it means losing an argument. And I think it's a challenge for all of us to think how we need to be right, and how we accept graciously allowing someone else to be right. Not necessarily a simple answer, but probably a question worth exploring. Thank you again for joining us today. Hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.